Ladies and gents, welcome back. When somebody comes to you with a story that fits your narrative, just run it. Don't ask any questions, says the CBC as they ran this article. I regret going, protester says he spent life savings to support Freedom Convoy. No stance on vaccine mandates, but used his own money to help protesters, man says. Protester who joined the so-called Freedom Convoy, which occupied downtown Ottawa for much of February, says he regrets taking part after he lost $13,000 of his own money and his home, protesting something he never really had a stance on. Was the CBC there to ask him why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? No, they don't ask this at all. Well, it didn't take long. But the news actually broke on what was going on about this situation. We have here from the Post Millennial, CBC's regretful trucker convoy protester story falls apart. A story hyped by the CBC and CTV about a regretful trucker convoy protester is being disputed by those who were on the ground with him in Ottawa, and those who have been victims of his previous alleged scams. Published Thursday, the story focused on Martin Joseph Engelhart. That's my name too. Sorry, I couldn't help it. A man claiming to have given all of his life savings to the truckers and now regrets his involvement with the Freedom Convoy. Salivating at the idea of a gullible right-wing mascot, CBC seemingly ran the story to project the narrative, and the Freedom Convoy took advantage of his well-meaning man, and that he is now regretful for taking part in this protest. However, new evidence suggests CBC ran the story without conducting the most basic level of investigation, like maybe check with anybody else on the ground, find out who this guy is. Nope. No, they don't. Why would you do that when the story sounds great? You could just run it. In addition to CBC, CTV also ran a story on Engelhart where he says he is sorry to the people of Ottawa, noting that they had to endure all the horns and all the weirdos. Engelhart also said he never really had a stance on the mandates, but allegedly gave all of his life savings away anyhow. This was believable enough to the legacy media. I remember reading this story and saying I need to get to the bottom of it, and didn't report on it myself until I wanted to make sure that there was more information, because I knew you can't take things on face value like that. Nonetheless, he alleges to have joined the protest because he was upset that he wasn't able to say goodbye to his dying friend in the hospital due to the pandemic restrictions. There is no corroboration for this happening. Engelhart's story now being disputed by countless individuals who were with him either in Ottawa or have been victims of his scams across the country. Many aspects of CBC's piece are self-evidently suspicious, but most were pointed out by Fox News producer Greg Ree, who created a Twitter thread of all the falsehoods. So Greg Ree here with his tweet saying, update. The bank documents also show the individual receiving welfare payments from multiple provinces at once. I have asked CBC if they inquired into this as to why this might be. Update. I have now obtained records of Engelhart's wire transfers. It appears CBC did not bother to check where Engelhart was sending his money or request withdrawal receipts. They simply assumed it was going to the accounts Engelhart did not control. CBC promising response today. Not sure if they actually got back to him on that. So there are lots of allegations here on basically scams that this guy has been running on other people using, feel sorry tactics. Feel sorry for me. I'm in a hard way, and would you guys be able to give us money? Martin Joseph Englehart, if you're watching, you'll remember me, says, Sorry, this was from a YouTube video. The YouTuber begins saying in his video, when he walked through Englehart's claims. Yes, this is from this YouTube channel here, which is Live from the Shed. So Live from the Shed running this video. I'll play a bit of this here.
Martin Joseph Englehart, if you're watching, you'll remember me and the time that came out to Coventry to pick up some supplies, and you were hanging around, still one of the only people awake, and so I asked for a lift in your minivan over to Walmart. That's when you told me your story, and you didn't ask me for assistance, but you told me the situation you were in and living in your van. And so I decided then, having just met you an hour before, to e-transfer you $1,000 so that you could get a hotel for multiple nights. I don't share that to brag, but to share the truth of what happened.
Now, this man goes on. I'll leave the link to this video in the description down below, as well as the article itself. But he goes on to show that a lot of people had some really goodwill towards this Mr. Englehart, and reached out and reached into their wallets to help this guy out. And in the end, he came out with this article with CBC to try to get more money out of people. We have Susan Ledette here, scammer alert. This guy is a well-known scammer around Sault Ste. Marie. I hosted him for a night with my friends. My friends hosted him for a week, and nothing added up with him. Scammed by many of his false stories of being ex-forces with PTSD and terminal cancer. Now, individuals like this exist out there, and honestly, it sounds like he probably has mental issues, or he has some sort of issues going on in his life, and hopefully he can get help. But individuals who need help a lot would be writers for the CBC and CTV. If someone comes to you with a story like this, maybe do your homework. It doesn't take a lot of work to look into someone's story rather than just running an article at face value because it fits your narrative. If it fits your narrative that closely, you might be being scammed at the moment. You might have someone who's coming to you with knowing exactly what your motives are and trying to run the story based on that. And especially a character like this who looks like just a little bit of digging found out that he's been involved in several scams himself. This is a lesson to the media, which should have a little bit more due diligence when they're running stories like this. But that's all I got for you on it at the moment. If there's any updates on this story, I'll keep you posted. Look for the links down in the description down below. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.